Hello, crafty friends. Welcome to my happy place. I hope it becomes yours as well. Today, I'm going to try to make tags like I saw Julie from Camelia Crafts and Designs make. She used paper napkins, heat and bond, and cardstock to make lovely, lovely tags. And you get the light kind of the heat and bond. It's the purple. And what she did was she cut hers in half. And that's what I ended up doing, although next time I'm not sure I would cut it in half. I think I would cut it the size of, I would open up the napkin, because the napkin's almost a 12 by 12, I think, and I would cut it that size, and then use the extra for, other things. So you need that, you need an iron, and you need, like something to put on your surface to iron on. I happen to have like a mat that came with, I think it might have come with the Cricut. Not the Cricut, but the Cricut heat and press thing. So I'm just cutting the napkins down some so that they're easier to work with. I ended up cutting them into fourths. The pattern was just a repeating pattern that repeated in fourths, and I'm measuring out the heat and bond and cutting around it. And now I do, stay tuned for the end of the video, because I end up figuring out a little trick that makes cutting that a lot easier, because it is in a roll, so it wants to roll up on you. So stay tuned, because if you leave, you won't see the trick at the end, the little tip. So you have to separate the plies from the napkins so that you're down to one ply. Some of mine had two. Some of the ones I did had three. So I had to remove two of the plies. It just kind of, it varies from napkin to napkin. You just you can kind of tell by looking at it if it's down to, its original layer. So I just used this mini iron that I have. It was just easy. It tells you to put it on medium, but I put it a little bit higher than that, because it didn't seem to be getting hot enough to stick with that smaller iron. So first you take the heat and bond and you're going to iron it onto the cardstock. This makes it a lot easier. I just feel like it makes it easier to do it this way. This is the way Julie did it, and it makes a lot of sense to me to do it that way. It just, you want to try not to get the glue from the heat and press onto your iron as much as possible. And so this is a good way to do it. And it does get a little bit warm. So you got to kind of cool it off and let it cool before you can peel it. You don't really want to peel it when it's super hot. And then you're just going to lay your napkin on top of the part that you peeled, and take a piece of parchment paper and put it over it, just so that you don't get anything on your iron. If you do get something on your iron, it will come off. You can clean it off, but it's just easier if you don't. And voila, there it is. It's on there. Mine, it didn't stick in that one corner for some reason. It didn't look like. I think I go back and fix that, or I might have added just a touch bit of glue later to that little bitty corner. There I am doing another one, and I'm just going to repeat this process just so you understand it. And see, that one only had, I think, one additional ply to it. So, these were kind of cheap napkins. I think I ordered them off of Ally, maybe, or Sheen, somewhere like that. And, they're all over the place. You can get them on eBay. You can just buy a few, or you can buy a whole pack. The price varies depending on how many you buy. But these turn out really cool, and it's kind of a neat way to, I don't know, just do something different. I thought it was a really kind of good way to use something unique, another, I'm always looking for different ways to do things. So when she did this, I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I think I could get into doing that. And it ends up being pretty thick. So it makes nice, little thick tags because you're adding that extra layer to the cardstock. My cardstock was thick anyways. And here I'm just cutting down the tags. You know, I I think I got at least 5 maybe tags out of it. Um, and that are decent size. They're pretty good size. Yeah, see, I end up gluing that one little corner down with some, just some Nuvo glue. And that works just fine. And the backings that I use from the Heat and Bond that you'd see me removing, those are what I use for the glassine bags that I make. And I have another video that shows you, it's just a short, less than 60 seconds, shows you real quick how to make those. They're so easy. You can knock out a bunch of them. I made a bunch of them in a mass make in hardly any time at all, and it was a lot of fun, and they're really neat. They are very old school, and I think I made a bunch of them. Half of them I kind of inked up, and the other half I just left, white, the original color that they were. But that's just, that way we're using everything that we're not really just, the only thing I didn't really use were the layers that I took off. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these. They're too thin to do anything with. You couldn't even blow your nose with them if you wanted to. I mean, it's like they're thinner than the cheapest toilet paper in the world, and so there's just, it's no way. But it is a little bit tricky to, make sure you kind of get that lined up because you don't want it to be too big. You don't really want the glue to come out, the sides of it, but you also don't want it to be too small because then the edges aren't going to stick down. So it's really important that that's, right on key. It's just right, the right size that you need. And let's think. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that was particular that I learned by doing this that I thought was worth sharing. When I cut them, I think I ended up I did I think 1 or 2 napkins from each set. I had several sets that I was doing. I might have only done 1 because you usually get 4 panels out of each one pretty much. So, and I cut 2 of the panels into tags, and 2 of the panels I ended up leaving solid because I think you could also use these as covers. Or maybe at some point you might want bigger pieces to use in some way. So I didn't cut them all down. I only cut 2 of them. And I did end up writing top on my parchment paper. I knew I was going to fold it up and save it for the next time that I did it. And I wanted to make sure that the glue was always staying on the bottom. If any glue would happen to get on the parchment paper, that I wasn't going to get it on the top and then get the iron on there. That would kind of defeat the purpose. So I wrote it in pencil on top of it, and that seemed to work out just fine. That was another little trick that I learned. I did use the guillotine cutter to cut these down, and the guillotine worked just fine to trim them. There was some excess, paper from the cardstock, but what I did was I ended up using that later when I was mass making some stamped tags and things like that. I just used the paper that I had left over from this to make those. So that waste, from that was used. I try to really, make sure I'm using as much of everything as possible. I think that's part of what makes it junk journaling, is that, not only are you using, things that people would normally discard, but you're also, you know, kind of recycling, upcycling. I guess that you could call it upcycling, which is something that I really like to do. I do that in other parts of my life with furniture and, all kinds of things. I have a pretty good mind for looking at something and being able to see other possibilities out of it. I think that's just, the way my design mind is kind of set up. And this is the little trick I'm going to show you. I have a board, a metal board, and I had some magnets. And if you put the paper down, and then put the napkin on top of it, and set the magnets down on it, it keeps it in place and makes it way easier to cut. And I do this with materials sometimes too, if I'm cutting a pattern or something, just to make sure it doesn't move. And, I only ended up having to use 3 magnets, and I moved them in a little bit. And I'm telling you, this saved me a huge headache. So I just wanted to come back and, show you this little trick. So if you have a metal board and some magnets, yeah, you could use a cookie sheet if you don't have a metal board. I hope you enjoyed the project. I had a lot of fun with it. Thank you for stopping by my happy place. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As a new channel, it means a lot. Take care and see you next time.